typically when people start talking money, unless it's Dave Ramsey, my eyes roll back in my head. Money talk can be boring. Today we're talking money. Money, 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 money. And it won't be boring, I promise you. It's next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, over the line, but barely. And that is about the worst place to be. Barely over the line were the Rangers when it comes to the luxury tax this year. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast with me, John Radigan, Jeff Wilson. The Queen is here. The cat made that lovely graphic full of the rain. You know, they're making it rain with the money and all that. Anyway, yeah, the Rangers go $380,000 over the luxury tax. The official numbers have finally come out, Jeff. 9 teams go over. The Rangers by far the lowest overage, but you know it's kind of like I'm a little pregnant. No, you're either pregnant or you're not pregnant, and so the Rangers, man, it's the worst possible case because I believe it's the main reason they're so steadfast this year about not going over again.
Yeah, and you know, we'll say this. At the trade deadline, the Rangers were allowed to go over the threshold by ownership, and they thought they were going to be significantly over. They acquired Merrill Kelly. They were anticipating that Tyler Mahle would return sooner than he did. And then, lo and behold, a lot of guys didn't hit their performance bonuses. So it was all based on performance bonuses, and the Rangers felt like, you know, at the time of the trade that the guys who had them were going to keep them over, right? So that's the way they went into the deadline. So they weren't planning to be over by 180,000 or 390,000, whatever it was. They thought they were going to be over into the millions.
Okay.
And then, you know, Mahle didn't return until very, very late.
Yeah, and he had a lot of incentives.
Some other guys did not hit their incentives. And so as of 2 weeks ago, I guess before the winter meetings, the Rangers honestly did not know if they were going to be over it or under it. They knew it was going to be close.
Yeah.
But they also said it doesn't matter because for 26, they're not going anywhere close to it.
Right.
So it was going to reset anyway. Now, you know, had they had intentions of having a high payroll and going over the CBT this upcoming season, then yeah, it would have been malpractice. You know,
yes.
Because they would have had to pay a larger percentage. But it's not happening. So they're kind of like, eh.
Yeah. And yes, to answer quick questions, it was $380,000 and change over, $380 and $966 over, which means the fee, 50%, is $190,000. Now, by resetting the first year that you're over the luxury tax, it's 20%. So you can see huge difference if they'd been over with a 20% instead of a 50% penalty. The second year, it's 30%. The third year, it's 50%. Then it's 50% into perpetuity for the first $200 million any team is over. However, for teams, there are 4 teams that have gone over 4 years in a row. The obvious usual suspects, Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Phillies. 4 years in a row they've gone over. This year, once they get past that $200 million overage, $200 million over the salary cap or the threshold, they pay 110%. So it's 50%.
Yeah.
It's 50% on the first 200 million, and then it's 110% after that. And those 4 teams last year. So basically, this year at 304 million, teams go over 304 million. Jeff, they pay 110% on every dollar over that. Last year, the Dodgers. We need to get somebody talked about their Texas Instruments calculator. We probably need to get ours out. The Dodgers were at 417 million last year in payroll. So basically 113 million at 110%, right?
Yeah.
Mets 346, Yankees 319, Phillies 314,000. So they're all over that threshold of 304, which means they would all be taxed at 110% next year. Ouch.
Yeah, but these teams are obviously the Dodgers have shown no
they're not even
no care in
they're
the
not
world
even
about
touching the
about
brakes.
it.
Nope.
The Phillies kind of the same way. I mean, I guess the Mets obviously the same way with Cohen and the way he throws around the money.
It's actually, you know what it's called? The Cohen tax.
Oh, well, there you go.
Among the owners, they call it the Cohen tax because they're trying to, put the sort of binders or whatever on Steve Cohen, which it hasn't and it won't. The guy's worth $25 billion.
Yeah, and I don't like talking about the money because it's disappointing that the Rangers aren't going over and that Ray Davis is not just not willing to go over, but just not willing to approach it, and he's cut the budget. It just doesn't make sense for somebody with the personal wealth that he has. As a businessman, I'm sure he's made it make sense, but it just a team owner is supposed to kind of has like a civic obligation.
Sure,
you gotta spend a little. You gotta keep the fan base happy.
Right.
And there is the old theory. You got to spend money to make
100%.
And we're going to get into the TV deal a little bit later, but you want your TV deal to start making money, don't you have to have a good product?
Yeah, that's the first step. Absolutely the
now,
first
of course,
step.
the Rangers insist that they're going to be fine, and with the core that they have, it's not a stretch to imagine this team's going to be good. It really isn't.
No,
it really isn't. But it sure would be nice to, insure with an eye, because, you're spending money with adding players that are higher salary that are really going to help.
Right.
So,
yep. So, and we're going to also, Jeff mentioned, we're going to do a segment on TV deals, which are, again, crazy, but we also, including the Rangers TV deal, but we also do want to talk in the next segment about starter or closer. If you have to choose to spend money on one or the other, where do you go next? And we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, a little bit more on this luxury tax thing. So this is kind of weird. The first $3.5 million that is paid into the luxury tax system by teams, first $3.5 million goes to players for their benefits. So, pay their their health benefits and stuff, I suppose. Then you take that total off, and the rest is split 50-50. 50% of it goes to the players' 401ks.
Oh,
which is pretty amazing for guys making millions of dollars. They got a 401k, but you know what? Good for you. And I'm sure there's a match. And then the last 50% goes to the commissioner's fund, where he uses his discretion to distribute it to the teams that need revenue sharing. And that also becomes one of the things that is really under everybody's skin, under mine, under everybody. There needs to be a floor, right?
Yeah.
Like, why are any of these owners can afford it? They're all billionaires. So at this point, I don't think we should need to have any of these men or groups crying poor. You can spend more money, and then, as Jeff just indicated, and as the long-time saying says, you can spend more money and then make more money.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything you're saying here, John.
Thank you.
Preaching to the choir, and I think everybody in here, the chat, agrees. It's it can be aggravating, but and then again, the small overage. If this was the Phillies or the Dodgers with intentions of going over, the outrage would be higher and should be more. And those who are upset about the tiny overage are theorizing that on potentially going over again. Well, it's not happening this year.
Right. No.
So, so that's kind of that's where it's like, yeah, I can see why people would be mad and why it would be bad. And as a general practice, as a front office, if you're going over, go over. All right.
Right.
Go over.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
get way over that fence.
Yeah.
But because they're not having any intentions of being anywhere close to it this year, I think it's 244 this year.
It is.
It's like, all right, it's not a big story. Now, maybe in 10 years and there's a new owner and assuming there's no salary cap and that baseball's still being played and then they're not in the 10th year of the labor stoppage, and we're here talking about it
for 10 years. We're going to sit
here.
Well, we're hoping it ends soon. Kat's going to be pulling her hair out,
Yeah. But just as a general practice, if everybody's still in place, the next time it gets to this point, they need to learn from that.
They do. They
shoot
do.
over it.
And because there's going to be a new collective bargaining agreement after this reset year by the Rangers, everything will change, I think. I mean, it's not everything, a lot of it, right? But the reason to do it, for example, like the Blue Jays did it in 2024. They didn't go over, purposely. Didn't go over because they had violated 3 years in a row. Didn't go over in 2024, and they saved $21 million in tax fees. They went over this year, and I think they ended up paying, $2 or $3 million in their fee. But they saved $21 million by having 20% instead of 50% at the tax rate. So it's big. I mean, $21 million's probably not a lot to Ray Davis, but it really is. I mean, $21 million is a lot to any of these owners, even Rogers TV. So
I don't know. If Ray Davis had to pay $21 million, he would still be worth $3.6 billion.
Yeah.
Instead of being worth $3.67 billion, he'd be worth.
It's sort of like It's sort of like the rest of us saying keep the change, right?
Exactly.
We give them 5, keep the change. That's a little bit like what the $21 million would be for Ray Davis. So, but it's very frustrating to have a team go just over, right? To go just over. But all that said, and I think Jeff's right, under any circumstances, they weren't going to spend this year, even if they hadn't gone over, because there's also that looming lockdown or, lockout or strike. It'll be a lockout, I'm sure. But as it looms, I don't know that Ray Davis is like as worried about the money as he is about knowing it will change, right? So I'm not flirting with it. Now, other teams and other owners will go just the opposite, right? Yeah. Like the Dodgers may do more deferred money this year, and they already have, and they'll continue to do more because that might change. That should change. The deferred money rule should change under the new collective bargaining agreement.
I think it should. There's I don't know what's going to come out of this thing, and hopefully, they start talking in spring. The commissioner, not the commissioner, the Tony Clark, the head of the union chief, he visits every camp. They talk this stuff out every year, what to expect and all this stuff. And this year, I'm assuming he's going to be like, how galvanized are you guys?
Right.
He's going to be trying to get a feel for how committed these guys are.
Yeah.
Are you, and if they aren't, then he's going to be preparing them for, hey, don't go out and buy that new Bentley, maybe. Let's go ahead and save a little money here because you may go a little while without a paycheck. So that's kind of the weird thing, the CBT. Chris Young said it's not dictating how they're going about business because, indeed, they gave Danny Jansen a 2-year contract.
Right.
Not knowing how much baseball is going to be played next year.
Sure.
Hopefully 162 games will be played. But
we don't know.
It's baseball's kind of in a messy spot right now, and so are the Rangers.
And it shouldn't be. One last thing about the CBT, by the way, regarding deferred money. I reminded myself when I brought that up. The deferred money discount, the deferred money is charged to your CBT at current day values.
Okay.
So there's the discount that you get on it. And so, yeah, the Dodgers are saving a lot of money paying it then, but paying for it now. So anyway, crazy. Starting pitcher or closer, though. What should the Rangers focus on if they're on a budget? Let's talk about that and more as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. So I'm mad at myself. Noticed Saturday the neighbors, my next-door neighbors, were getting a new roof. And they're not sports fans or Rangers fans, Jeff, so they don't watch the show.
Man.
And so I'm afraid they didn't know about Qualis Roofing. Well, in fact, I know they didn't because it ended up taking about 4 days before it was all done. And I wish they'd used Qualis. It's so quick. It's so great. The quality's so perfect. They've got 700 5-star reviews. I'll tell my other neighbors about it just as I am telling you about Qualis Roofing. They're local, basically just here in the North Texas area and in Austin, and they are fantastic. They do the highest quality of work, and they give you gifts, which is really fun this time of year or really any time of year. Just get a roof inspection. Those are free, and you get a DLLS T-shirt for free. And then if you get the work done by them, you get either a Traeger smoker or a Blackstone grill at Qualis Roofing.
And this episode, in addition to being brought to you by Qualis, is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/DLLS. Get $50 in free lineups after you place your first $5 lineup. It's so easy. 2 to 6 players, and you go more or less in their projected statistical category. NBA, soccer, NHL, college basketball, college football, all kinds of sports that you can do lineups with. It heightens the sports experience, puts a little money in your wallet if you're doing it right. And you can, but the thing is, you can do it for as little as $1. I do it every day. I've already done it today on some NBA action, and I am eagerly awaiting the outcome. So, look, I know we do this frequently, but it's the truth. They're the best in fantasy, daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks.com. $50 in free lineups after you place your first $5 lineup.
Shots fired by Kelly, man. It could be worse. We could have Cowboys or Mavs ownership. Oh, wow. Yeah. It could. Look, it could always be worse. We could have Pirates or Marlins ownership. Those two teams didn't go over $100 million in payroll last year.
Yeah. If we want to take a fair look at Ray Davis, the Rangers have spent.
They have.
There have been off seasons where they haven't, but for the most part, they've always had larger payrolls. They've always been top third.
Sure.
The exception's probably 2021, I would guess, with the tear down and trading everybody and that dreadful 100 loss or 102 loss, however many losses it was awful. The thing, and T.O. says it, Davis's silence is frustrating. It is.
It is.
It is. Dating to way back to the Mark Cuban ownership era of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At least Jerry Jones talks.
Yeah.
At least Mavs ownership talked then. Rangers ownership never talks. And again, I think it's entirely unfair for to Chris Davis and going back a little further to John Daniels for having to be the mouthpiece for the financial component of the franchise when that's not their job. That's not their title. They are not chief operating officer or president of the business side. And so, they're put in a tough spot. And frankly, Chris Young has started to answer those questions like, well, I don't have a complete picture. I can't give you guys the complete answer on that. I don't think he's balancing the books, Chris.
No.
He could.
He's smart enough. Yeah.
But the point is that Ray Davis needs to speak, or Neil Lehman, who is the president of the franchise.
Sure. Yeah.
Somebody needs to talk about this, and it's because Chris Young does have a boss, and John Daniels had a boss, and it was Ray Davis, and it's what he does to them it isn't right.
Right. No, and it is frustrating, and there's a lot in the chat, and McJowers most recently, CY's fault, you can't give $37 million to Jock Peterson. The reality becomes, with all those things, free agent decisions, sometimes you just get it wrong, right? And you hope you don't, and you do all the work you can do to try and get it right. But, you go back through history of the Rangers organization, and there have been free agent misses, the largest of which may have been the Chan-Ho Park one.
Sure.
Way back in the day, right? I mean, you think, you're a general manager. You're not out there trying to get a guy who's going to horribly underachieve and pay him a whole bunch of money. And so they just, you're right, Mick Jowers. I mean, it was a mistake to sign him, and you can't give a guy like that $37 million. But the intel, the data, the research, the numbers all showed that this guy was going to be, and we thought last year at this time, wow, that is a perfect option, a perfect, a thing to put into that Rangers lineup at designated hitter.
Yeah, I mean, let's not be, let's not go through revisionist history here. I think that the Peterson signing was thought by most to be the missing piece, and everybody's like, hey, this is going to be great.
Yep.
And he was awful, yes. And so now that deal looks like complete crap. But I think a lot of people are on board with it, okay? And I hear the complaints and understand it, and you wish that wasn't on the books now. But if we go back a year ago, or whenever it was, I think it was January when he signed.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are all for that one. So let's not say, oh, what a mistake, what a terrible signing, because everybody was on board with it.
Right. It's a hindsight 2020.
But a lot of people are on board with it.
Yeah. Yeah. There were very few saying that's ridiculous, right? Yeah. There were most.
I thought it was too high. I thought it was too much money. I'll say that. But the signing itself on the face was solid. As a guy who's supposed to help the Rangers hit right-handers better and hit fastballs better.
Yeah.
Did not work out.
Didn't do either.
There's still a year of it to go, and he's going to be better. He's not going to hit 179 again. If he does, then it could be the worst signing in.
Well, it might.
One of them. I mean,
it might pass Chan-Ho Park.
It's gonna be hard to get past Chan-Ho.
Yeah, Chan-Ho's something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, but again, I suppose the money's all relative to the time. But yeah, his money is significantly bigger AAV than Chan-Ho Park's was. That's for sure. So who did the research there? Somebody said it's the 23rd last year that he signed. Oh,
good work, Ethan.
Ethan, thank you very
much.
Good.
That's my daughter's birthday, which is tomorrow. So
yeah,
might have been a little distracted.
We're at the 1 year anniversary of when he signed last year. Nigh upon us here. So anyway, that's it's all part of the process. It's all frustrating, and I do wonder. Again, everything, you can't even ask this question legitimately right now because we don't know what the new collective bargaining agreement is going to look like.
Yeah.
But, will Ray Davis go back to, the way he was right after 21 and 22 and 23 and 24, even in 25, and spend money, once they are no longer penalized for spending too much money. That's not to say they won't be in the new CBA, but maybe this reset will allow him to then say, okay, cool. Now we can, I'm not going to say go crazy. They're never going to be the Dodgers for whatever reason, but, will they be more free with it?
I mean, maybe, and
some history maybe indicates he would.
Maybe give the, benefit of the doubt to the ownership, but it's hard to do. It really is. And maybe maybe the payroll will be higher next offseason, but still below this CBT. If there is a CBT, in the new collective bargaining agreement, and then maybe they'll have the cushion or the flexibility to go over at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well,
we'll see.
All we can do is hope. I mean, in that regard, we can't make the guy spend his money, nor can we make the TV deal such as it is better. We talk a lot more about the TV deal coming up. Let's get into this, though, right now. If we have to, like, in my brain, I would love to see the Rangers spend a lot of money. I mean, enough money, good money on a closer, right? Rather than, I think that same good money gets you an okay starter, but that same money gets you a pretty good closer.
Yeah, let's see here. If $5.5 million was too much for Sean Armstrong,
yeah, I know.
All right, then, and again, I still haven't spoken to anybody with the club about what happened there, but it would seem that a $20 million starter is out the window. So are you talking about a $10 million starter?
Right.
That's a guy that's got some scars,
big time,
physical and literal scars, and is not a sure thing, right? So you really want to go there. So maybe spend it on Pete Fairbanks,
right?
Right. And bring him back to the organization, and help erase the memory of the Nick Solak trade. And but Uncle Ted, no, we're not going to make Kumar Rocker a closer just yet. I think there's a couple more years until that becomes more in focus or more of a priority, because he has a chance to be a really good starter. The Rangers still believe that.
They do. When
they are looking ahead and looking at the strength of their team right now, they believe it's in starting pitching, and Kumar is part of that picture. So let's not do that yet. But who's a $10 million starting pitcher out there? I would start with Tyler Mahle. Just because he did make 16 or 17 last year from the Rangers, but he's got a lot of the scars that we were talking about. A lot of uncertainty there. What is his salary going to look like? But maybe that's where we go. If we want to start, and Ethan wants Justin Verlander. Hey,
he's more of a risk to me though at his age than even Tyler Mahle. Although
I don't know,
maybe not. I mean, at least he's been healthy for the most part, right? JV.
Yeah. Yeah. There are names that you're going to hear of. Uncle Ted says Lucas Giolito.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think he was paid fairly handsomely, of late by the Red Sox.
Yep.
Walker Buehler's another guy who just doesn't strike anybody out anymore. Coming off of injury, and I guess he's a couple of years removed from that. Rarities that says take a flyer on Kirby Yates. Not sure Kirby's going to play again.
Yeah.
And do you want to have to pay him enough to change his mind the other way? You want a guy that wants to play, right? Who isn't just going to come out and collect a paycheck. So it's it's just kind of a frustrating feeling, and I still hope that the Rangers can go ahead and be in on Zach Gallen. I think that I think that you could sell ownership on, hey, look at the future, consider future payrolls. Who's coming on, who's coming off. If you're still going to be here, Ray Davis, in 3 years, well, you're going to outlast Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi, and gotta have some veterans. So why not get a guy who's going to be fairly affordable here?
Sure.
So there, a lot of ways they can go with it, but if just based on the Sean Armstrong thing, it ain't looking like they're going to be
spending that kind of money,
15 to 20 range.
No.
Maybe the 10 or less, or 10 to 15 range. So is that Tyler Alexander, the veteran left-hander, who's not bad? Mahle, is it Corbin again? Gosh, I just don't know. You're getting to these names that are like they were good once,
right?
Nestor Cortez,
right?
Hey, that guy was fun at that All-Star game a few years ago. That was kind of cool. I just Jose Quintana. How old is that guy? He's
Right.
about 1,000.
Right.
Is he still out there getting it done? Yeah, probably, but I don't know. Do you want to rely on that for 32 starts?
Right.
I don't know.
Can he even make 32 starts? And T.O.'s right. Still need a right-handed bat as well. So that's all got to factor into the considerations too. So, but, again, money. The TV money was definitely down. We'll talk about some reasons why what happened with the Rangers TV deal, but also what's happening nationally with TV deals next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, and I got Supporters Club today. So,
good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I want you to join it. I really do. Be supportive and be a supporter. It's that time of year, money's just flying out the window. So just let 15 more or even $5 more fly out the window, and you join the Supporters Club, and you get to have access to all the things that we put in our Supporters Club videos. It's super easy to do. You just click on the Join Now button on your YouTube page there, and it'll be a $5 or $15 charge, and you're in, and you get the access to those dandy emojis that are right there on the screen. Oh, they aren't there today, but you'll see them another time. And then you'll there we go. There they are, lower right. There they are. And then but you'll also have access to the videos that we produce, including the great one from the winter meetings a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure that the Cowboys are going to have something juicy and dicey soon, and the Mavs and Stars are producing stuff too. So join the Supporters Club and get access to all that stuff.
Yeah, and this won't cost you anything. That's signing up to get our newsletter, which you do at our homepage, alldls.com. Go to the bottom and just enter your email address and hit submit, and boom, you get Ali's handiwork 5 days a week. And it's little vignettes and thumbnails into what we've written behind the paywall. Some of it's not behind the paywall, but most of it is. But it's good stuff. And, Ali, with his Cowboys ties as being on the Cowboys team, will have some little jabs in there. If you don't, if you're not watching for it, he'll throw a jab in there.
He'll zing you.
And but all of our teams are represented, and sometimes he goes a little bit beyond that and finds something fun that isn't DFW related, and it's really a joy, and it helps you keep up with all the other teams. So become a recipient of our newsletter. Yep,
be a good idea. So T.O. asks to kick off the RSN subject here. Why is there no programming on RSN? Because programming costs money. Under any circumstances, you have to pay for programming. Now, the one thing the Rangers could do is they have the rights to their old games. They could just run a constant stream of old games, but you still got to fire up the whole system, and there's some expenditures going there. In their perfect world, the Rangers RSN will ultimately be a 24/7 entity that has things going all day, all year, every day.
Yeah, maybe our show.
And our show could easily land on, there, and other things from this network as well. However, they aren't doing any of that right now. Right now, their idea is to do the games and do them right and get that right, and then worry about the rest of it. So it is unique, though, because that's the reason you normally say you can't start your own network, because you can't program it. Right? You can't, there's not enough. Even when Fox Sports Net went on the air in the early 2000s, it's like there's not enough programming to fill every day. Ultimately, Fox Sports Net did a pretty good job of finding it. But if you remember shows like The Best Damn Sports Show and stuff like that, I mean, man, they were grasping at straws. And again, all those shows cost money to produce.
That's right.
And then if they don't make as much money as they cost to produce, it doesn't make any sense to put them on, which is why you ended up with, like in the afternoons on Fox Sports Net, a steady stream of watching guys play poker, right?
Yeah. Some good fishing shows.
Things like that.
Southwest Sports Report.
That weren't extremely expensive.
Yeah, look at T.O. spreading the joy.
T.O. spreading the holiday love, the holiday joy, and gifting several subscriptions. So we appreciate you, T.O., as always. He gifted 5 of them right out there. And congratulations to all of you who got those. from T.O. But anyway, so that's the thing. There isn't any programming because it costs money to program. They would love to eventually have programming around on maybe all day, but certainly much more leading into their Rangers broadcast is where it would make sense to put a show like ours.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be necessarily a true pregame, but would get you kind of ready for what's going to happen that day. And so anyway, that's something that we have not in any official capacity just talked to our friends at RSN about, and they're, they'd be interested, but everything takes money and time. The interesting news in the world of sports broadcasting right now, Jeff, is that FanDuel is fighting for its life right
Again.
now.
Oh,
Again.
Again. I am shocked.
I am so glad. It basically shut down here in DFW. But if it hadn't, I'd have hung, right? I think I would have. I would have been like, well, okay, I can stick with this a little bit longer. And I'd be going through the same hell right now that I went through for 2 years, wondering when the executioner was going to call and they were going to lop my head off, And so the people who are at FanDuel and all the markets that have it right now, FanDuel actually upped the ante with many of its teams and signed them much more quickly than normal this past year. And now this past offseason, early this offseason, and now it looks like they may not be around to do those games. And that does, Jeff, play right into MLB's hands, because MLB, what they want to do is they'd love to get all 30 teams together, right. And they would love to get all 30 to be a centralized, they're one big package, and then they would put all 30 of those on the ESPN, the new ESPN rights deal that they have.
Yeah.
And each of us there'd still be regional coverage. Each of us would get our local team from ESPN Plus in our area, right? And of course, if that was the case, if they were able to get all 30 teams, then their rights fee would go up significantly from ESPN. And I'm sure Major League Baseball would obviously have to share it with the teams. But that's MLB's goal, is to centralize that, I suppose, a little bit like what the NFL does. But there's two teams for sure that are never going to be a part of that. And that's the Dodgers and the Yankees. They make so much money on their local deals that they will not be a part of it. MLB believes, actually, according to the most recent reporting, MLB believes that they can get 27 of 32 teams to agree to something
30.
like this. And the three that wouldn't be are the Dodgers and the Yankees.
And the Mets or the Cubs.
And the Rangers.
Oh, no shit.
Because they have their own TV network, right? So and they're the only team that has started its own network. Now others could, I suppose, in the meantime, but they don't know for sure that they could talk the Rangers. But the other side of that coin is it might be that, they'll say, well, when ESPN takes over, the rights are this, and you get this much money. And the Rangers say, oh, wow, ESPN's going to give us this much money, similar to what FSN, Fox used to do. And right now on our RSN, we're making this much money and we're working our asses off. Let's just take the ESPN money and forget about it, right? But they may have already forgot. I still believe this RSN can make money. I mean, we weren't freaking geniuses at Fox. We just figured out how to do this. And I think if the Rangers are able to give it enough time, they'll figure out how to make the same kind of money that they were making from Fox. I think that's still there. I think it's still possible. But it takes time and it takes expertise and it takes planning and, there's a lot to it. Now, here's the other juicy part of this. The commissioner does not want the FanDuel people to succeed at all.
Yeah, he's pretty pissy about that one.
He can't stand the FanDuel people who were the Bally people, who actually were the Sinclair people which Sinclair was the company that bought. This is so confusing. Sinclair.
I'm confused.
Yeah, Sinclair Television bought Fox Sports, ironically, from Disney, which you don't even need to know all that. But so Sinclair buys it, and they've got just this one henchman, man. He is just this guy who's the biggest a-hole in the world, right?
Yep.
And he goes toe-to-toe with the commissioner. And so at the beginning of the 2024 season, they had the baseball meetings. I don't know if I've told this on the air. They had the baseball meetings, and the commissioner looked at all the executives from all the companies, Yes Network, Marquee Network, NESN, and a whole bunch of Bally's. And they said, the second question to the commissioner at this meeting with the TV executives, Mr. Commissioner, what do you think the future of the regional sports network is? Well, I can't speak to the regional sports network, but I can tell you this. Bally is going down. If you're in this crowd and you work for Bally, you will not have a job. Bally is going down. And then, he carries on for a little bit more, and he goes, are there any questions? And especially the people I know from Bally are kind of like, I ain't asking a question, man. You got to shoot me. I'm not going to be picked off here. Says, no, nobody. So nobody asks a question. And the commissioner goes, the last time I asked, are there any questions? And there were no questions. It was a group of interns. Good day. And he walks off the stage. So, yeah, he doesn't like him. He's got an axe to grind. But I also think there's money to be made, too. He wants to bring all of that centralized, not just because he's a bitter old man, but because he wants to make the money that you can make from this TV stuff. There's tons of it out there.
Yeah, Rob, I always enjoy listening to the commissioner speak. Just like I like listening to Scott Boras talk. They're smarter.
Yeah.
They're smarter than I am.
They're smart people.
And they say things that it's like, oh, okay, that's okay. That hey, I hear you. But he's got some nastiness to him.
He does. I think
a lot of it.
I don't think you get to that level without having that sort of that killer instinct, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, he needs to and he's going to be tough during this next year of bargaining and into what hopefully is not a lockout or a strike, but we know where we're headed, and you're going to hear a lot of him. He says stuff off the cuff all the time.
He does.
That really ticks people off or is like designed to hurt people.
Yes.
Hateful stuff.
Yep.
And so, but I think this is it for him, right? This is the end. I think this is his last CBT. I think he plans to retire at some point.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy is he going to have? Say what you will about Bud Selig, but there was no labor strife after 94.
Nope.
95 with that. And, I think Bud saw the damage that was done to the sport not having a World Series. Well, imagine if you don't have a season,
right?
And baseball is making money hand over fist.
Oh my gosh,
$11 billion a year.
Ratings were so good for the playoffs.
You're telling me that these owners aren't happy? I just hate it, and I think it's a bunch of malarkey. It's just the rich trying to get richer, and look, the players are very handsomely paid. A salary cap, they would still be handsomely paid. I mean, look at these NBA contracts. These
right.
I don't even know what they're called, but they're making like $60 million a year. The upper tier guys,
yeah. Those max contracts.
Max contracts. Yeah. There's the term.
Yeah.
And plus, I'll be honest, I don't want to have to learn the workings of a salary cap. Just add the numbers up and tell me what the payroll is, and I'm happy.
The players, to your point, the players, when you added up all the salaries this year, made $6.6 billion. $6.6 billion paid out in player salaries this past year. So there's 200 and some, or 400 and some players in the league. It's 26 a team times 30.
I don't know. 40-man rosters times 30.
Yeah.
It's 1,200, and I don't know that all the 40-man guys get there, but then you send them. I don't know what it is. It's still a lot of money.
A lot of money. $6 billion. Split it up any way you want. We'll talk a little bit more about this coming up. We'll also get into our cleanup segment, but there's some questions there we want to get to. It's all coming. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
The clock is a-ticking.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is right around the corner. 3 days. Talk about math. 25 minus 22. Boom. 3. And if you need a gift, a last-minute gift.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing could make your sports fan, friend, or family member happier than a diehard membership. It's the gift that keeps giving, too, because you'll give them the membership and then tell them, hey, get a free shirt with this. So it's $80, all right? $6.50 a month if you want to break it down. And you get access to everything that is written at DLLS, everything behind the paywall, whether it be Mavs, Stars, Cowboys, or Rangers, and then 20% off of our merch, 20% off our product, our events, early access to stuff. It really is great, and it's cheaper than both newspapers in our area, although, I don't even count the Star-Telegram anymore. It's just the best sports coverage in this area. There absolutely is no doubt about it. There's a dedicated beat writer to every team. Not even the paper right down the street from us can say that. So anyway, become a diehard today. Go to alldls.com. Check it out. Give it as a gift, and it'll put a smile on somebody's face if you stick this under the tree.
Sure would. And you'd also get a free T-shirt, which if it works out just right, you could still give that as a gift if it came on time, because, that might be something you don't need anymore because you got so many T-shirts. But you get a free T-shirt when you become a diehard. And store.allcitynetwork.com is the place to go to get any of our merchandise. I think that eventually there is going to be some cold weather here. So you might want to get one of those hoodies. There's still the Stay Shiesty hoodies, which are still popular and still good, even though the Rangers are, as Clarence Hill told us earlier today, Jeff, playing out the string.
Playing out the string.
Just playing out the string again. I said Rangers. I meant Cowboys. And although the Rangers played out the string there at the end last year, too. But anyway, our merchandise is great. Store.allcitynetwork.com is the place to go and get it.
Hey, T.O., he said his hats are coming today. So are mine.
Are they?
Yep, they're supposed to be in the mail.
Okay. I think I'll get mine soon, too. I just got one.
I got 3. I didn't get the Stars hat.
You should.
Oh, I know, but I didn't see it or whatever.
Yeah. So a lot to say here. Somebody was asking if the Braves are still on FanDuel or the only team on FanDuel. There's quite a few, 8 or 9 teams that are still on FanDuel. The Tigers are still there. The Reds are still there. The Angels are still there. I don't even remember who all they are. But there were 5 that were a part of Fox and then Bally and then didn't stay around. And they are San Diego, Cleveland, Minnesota, Arizona, Colorado, and Seattle. And those teams, I guess that's 6, those teams are a part of this new ESPN rights deal with MLB. And if you remember, there was a big deal. ESPN were out of the baseball business. We're not doing Sunday night baseball anymore, and they're not going to do that. That's actually going to be on NBC, I think, this year. But Sunday night baseball, I mean. But ESPN got out of it and then got to talking with Major League Baseball about the possibility of doing – ESPN's wanted to do a regional sports network, not unlike what Fox did for years and years and years. They tried it in various capacities. Fox had the idea first, made it better, made it work, and then ran it into the ground when they sold it to Sinclair. But ESPN still sees the value of doing that. You centralize all the teams, and then you put them out to the individual markets, and you make all that money back. So ESPN would be the carrier for all of these teams. Currently, it will be the carrier for the Padres, Guardians, Twins, Diamondbacks, Rockies, and Mariners, right, on ESPN+. All of those viewers will stream their games or get their games on ESPN+. And the league would like it to happen for everybody. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, eventually it probably will.
I think so. I think there's motivated people on both sides. And again, I don't know if, again, they're protecting the Rangers because they have their own sports network, but the other two, Dodgers and Yankees, I don't think will ever be a part of it. I don't think the money that the ESPN rights deal gives them could come close to what they make on their own rights deals through Yes and Prime, respectively, Yankees and Dodgers. So, So anyway, that's a lot of mumbo jumbo. But man, I am again so flippin' glad. So's Kat over there. She got out while the getting is good and went to the Mavs. But all of us who went through it at Bally, man, it was just day to day. And I'll say this, why you would think, why would the FanDuel people offer these teams more money when they're about to, like if they don't get bought by this company called DAZN, if they don't get bought this week, then they're going to have to go under. Why would they give more money? Because they suck, those people, Jeff.
When it comes to TV mumbo jumbo, John, you're like the best one to explain.
God almighty, those people.
So if
those people that run FanDuel suck.
So
I'm telling you right now. Am I allowed to say that, Kat? I'm allowed.
I think.
And it's truth.
I think you're on the fence about them, honestly.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating going back to something where none of the fans can see it. That's the thing I love best about the Ranger Sports Network. Everybody could see it this season. That was great. And by the way, somebody asked about Victory Plus in there. Victory Plus just repurposes the actual broadcast that the Ranger Sports Network puts out. So you don't have to worry about the quality of the Victory Plus broadcast. It's the exact same broadcast, just disseminated through a different method, which is streaming. That's how that's essentially, right now anyway, that's the Rangers streaming partner. But you got to pay for it.
So how much does it cost per season to televise a baseball schedule?
Yeah, I'd have to do the math, but the number we worked with back in the day, I would say I remember 40,000 per game was the number, but it's probably, I would say it's up because that's probably 5 to 10 years ago. So it's got to be at least 50 or 55,000 per game.
So that's 8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was just wondering.
Yeah. And so, anyway, that's your, and then, that was 40 or 50,000 is the production cost only. So that doesn't figure in the money that they pay Dave Raymond and Mike Bassick and, the pre and post game shows, guys like me, and then all the, but the production itself was 40 or 50 grand. So anyhow, that sucks. Yeah. And a quick aside, speaking of Bassick made me think of it. Somebody asked way back, what was I doing hosting, being the ringside announcer for a Mansfield pro wrestling event way back in the day. And the reason I did that, Mike Bassick's mom, Linda, was the
main event?
No, yeah, she was in the ring doing what's the thing with the elbow, the flying elbow? No, she was the development director, if you will, for Mansfield ISD. There you go, the one realtor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder if she knows. I don't know if my wife knows her.
Yeah, she was the development director for Mansfield ISD back in the day. And she, and of course, I was friends with Mike back then, too. She got in touch with me and said, hey, would you do this? And I said, sure. And my move would be that one.
An elbow drop or a bionic elbow?
Who's the guy that used to be on a desk and dropped like that? He came to Fox one time, and he showed me how to do it.
I don't know
which guy it was.
Dusty Rhodes threw a lot of big elbows.
Maybe him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Might have been him.
My finishing move? I don't know. Probably just I have no idea. Probably some sort of terrible DDT or something where you pile drive the guy's neck into the ground and break his neck.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him moving.
Right.
I don't want him trying to wiggle out of that pin. I want him paralyzed so I can just...
I think the elbow might do that. If I hit him just right on top of the head, Or if I got him, if he looks up to see me and I get him right here.
Oh, right in the throat.
The elbow,
Yeah.
right in the
Just
throat.
crushes larynx.
Yeah. Macho Man, thank you. Thank you, Not Razor. It was the Macho Man.
Oh, the Macho Man? Flying elbow off the top rope?
Yeah.
Okay.
He came into the deal at Fox then, and we had a desk, not unlike this one. And then he was afraid if he stood on the desk, he'd break it.
Oh.
So I said, well, let me. So I stood up on the desk and bam! I didn't hit him.
His Macho Man's real name, God rest his soul, was Randy Poffo, and he played minor league baseball.
Oh, I was going to say, because several of them I knew had played football.
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson played football in Miami.
That's right, yeah.
Macho Man, Randy Poffo, he was in the Cardinals organization.
Oh, wow, somebody's mom was the foundation director.
That does look like the sports card breakdown, 1396. That's Mike's picture.
That's Mike. Hey, Mike. Oh, Mansfield Foundation director. Thank you, Mike. That's our friend, Mike Bassick. Thanks for watching, too. We love you. Yeah, and I also know now why Mike, although I don't know, where's my phone? I also know now, maybe he's texted and I didn't see it. I know why he's not talking. He can't say anything about this TV crap. He works for him. So I understand it, Mike. Yeah, anyway. Oh, after a golf outing. Good. I hope
it was on your speaker and your cart and your.
Yeah, I hope you hit him straight. Mike can hit it a long way. He stands on the wrong side of the ball when he lines up.
Oh, man, one of those. Okay.
Yeah, he's lefty. Yeah,
all right.
So. Okay. All right. So, anyway, let me think. Was there anything else in this? Oh,
well, Murakami.
Yeah, everybody saw that. The White Sox get Murakami. They've already had an introductory press conference.
Yeah, they didn't waste any time. Well, no. He had to be here for the negotiation.
Yeah. And anyway, he pulled out a pair of white socks.
Ah, what a funny guy.
Which is, again, there might be some language barrier stuff there. He got Gatorade or, whichever, Powerade, whatever it was, dumped on him at the end of the last WBC.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't remember that he necessarily did anything great, but he must have because, they were dumping. He was doing a post-game interview, and they were dumping Gatorade on him. So
nice.
And again, he goes to the White Sox. This is money you would think normally isn't that ridiculous for the Rangers. I mean, hell, it's less than Jock Peterson money, Jeff, to be honest, right? So in a normal off season, it seems like you could be in on this guy. Now, do they not know what he can do in the in American baseball because he hasn't done it? I don't know. But
well, he got the high strikeouts. That's a concern for him. And then, the Rangers don't have a spot for him.
Okay.
And to create a spot, they would have had to make a trade or eat the Jock Peterson salary. So I can see why it wouldn't make sense, but if the Rangers got outbid by the White Sox, then shame on them. But I don't think they were ever.
No, I don't.
And then he can be a free agent again in a couple years. And he's still going to be young, and if he shows off that he can hit American fastballs, he's going to make a ton of money. Yeah,
and the White Sox the White Sox would be a team that could pay him if at that point if he likes it there and if they like him, they might be getting better, and we hope they will for Will Venable's sake, right?
Well, yeah, and the White Sox have never been afraid to spend money.
No, that's what I'm saying.
They're in the third largest media market.
Yeah, he can.
While the Rangers just sit here in the fourth, not spending money.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And Mike did text, by the way. He literally jumped on for the cleanup segment.
Oh.
And so he didn't hear us talking about the TV contract, but he wouldn't have been able to weigh in anyway. So it was all TV talk, Mike. That's what we were talking about. So then the Red Sox make a big trade, and they get Contreras from St. Louis, and St. Louis is going to pay $8 million of the 41.5 left, Jeff.
Okay.
And then you're generally more familiar with prospects than me, but they get right-handed pitcher Hunter Dobbins. I guess that's the linchpin in the deal.
Yeah, but he was the only guy on their 40-man roster, so I don't know that they got a ton.
Great back, yeah.
But that was probably going to happen,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's a frustrating place to be right now for the Cardinal fan. They've been kind of doing this for 2 years,
right?
Like it sucks to see it continue to happen. It's like, and they couldn't get as much done in breaking things down last year as they wanted to. And so now they continue to just kind of break it down.
Yeah, well,
So.
I'll wonder what they do with if they're able to do anything with Arenado, and
Right.
That one's kind of biting them in the rear.
Yeah, it still just hangs over the head of the franchise. So,
yeah,
and he turned down that opportunity, the trade to go to the Astros last year. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's going to do it. Wow, went by quick. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. We've got one more day that we'll do before Christmas, and then we'll be here Friday, the day after Christmas. But we'll be back tomorrow to help you do your last-minute shopping, if you will. And we'll enjoy every moment of that as we all sip eggnog and do our last-minute shopping tomorrow, 1 o'clock on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.